Hoffman. Jackson is excused, absent with notice. Johnson.
Present.
Joliet.
Here.
Long.
Here.
Lubes. Markham. McGilvery is absent with notice. Miller.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Powell. Rahman.
Present.
Smith Charles.
Present.
Spiz.
Present.
Wipert.
Here.
Woodward.
Here. And Commissioner Gingell is absent with notice as well.
Okay, thank you.
Quorum's been established. Next up, it will be the invocation. Will be led this evening with by Commissioner Brendan Johnson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Johnson, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Oh, the bottom of our mics is magnetic. That's something I learned today. We'll get there eventually. All right. Yeah. We did not go over this at the speaking training. The mic just falls apart. Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Clerk Brown. Appreciate it. Friends, I'll try to do this dignifiedly. As the vibrant colors of spring adorn our surroundings and the gentle whispers of renewal fill the air, we join together today, driven by innovation, empathy, and steadfast commitment to building a brighter future for all of us in Oakland County. Together, we embrace the spirit of spring, a season that symbolizes hope, growth, and the promise of new beginnings. In this moment, let us gather not only to celebrate the beauty of the season, but also to channel its essence to our collective endeavors. Just as the blooming flowers emerge from the fertile soil, so too do we emerge with fresh perspectives and an unwavering dedication to progress. Inspired by the energy of springtime, we come together to foster a spirit of unity, bridging divides, and working towards a shared purpose of growth. Let us draw strength from the budding trees that embrace change, adapting to the shifting seasons with grace and fortitude. May we too embody the resilience as we tackle the challenges that lie before us, confronting our climate crisis, revitalizing our economy, fostering a sustainable future that safeguards the natural beauties that surround us. Like the melodies of songbirds that serenade the dawn, let our voices rise in harmony, echoing the hopes and dreams of those we represent. Together, let us champion affordable and accessible education, empowering our young minds to blossom and reach their full potentials. Let us nurture a healthcare system that acts as a healing spring, ensuring that every Michigander here can receive the care they need to thrive. Let us cultivate an inclusive economy where the fruits of progress are shared equitably and no one is left behind. Let us be guided by the spirit of springtime, a season that reminds us of the power of unity and the boundless possibilities of growth. Let our decisions be rooted in compassion, empathy, and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of our communities. Here, amidst the bloom of new beginnings, may we find common ground, transcending divides for the greater good of our pleasant peninsulas. Together, the seeds of a brighter future will be nurtured by the spirit of spring, and we will reap a bountiful harvest of progress, equality, and indeed opportunity for all. May the spirit of springtime guide us on this noble path we together tread. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Johnson. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of our May 11th meeting. Can I get a motion to move? Moved by Commissioner Lube, seconded by Commissioner Long. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes were approved unanimously. On that, I need a motion to approve the agenda. There were, I believe it's reflected in here. We pulled items, two items under, Oh, it's already been refreshed? Yeah, if you refreshed it, so it's already captured. We pulled a couple items off the finance agenda and moved it to the regular agenda. And one we took off, and we'll take it up at the next meeting. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Joliet. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. And let the record reflect that the agenda has been approved unanimously. Next up, and this is a little unusual, we have a public hearing. I'm going to open a public hearing for the fiscal year 23 appropriation for the local road improvement program. I'm going to open that public hearing now. This is an opportunity for anyone to come and speak on all the local road improvement appropriations that are captured. This is required by state law when allocating the resources for our road program to support economic development activity across the county. Is there anyone here that came to speak during that public hearing? Seeing none, I will close that public hearing, and now we're in full compliance with the law, and move on. We've got a couple proclamations and a presentation to follow this evening. And so first up, I will call on Commissioner Lubes on behalf of Commissioner McGilvery to present a proclamation to an incredible person. Right. Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. I would like to ask our Water Commissioner, Jim Nash, to join me up front. And I would like to ask our recipient, Agnes Adia, to join us up front. So it is our honor to present a proclamation to you as regarding your artistic talents and creativity and the gifts you have that you share with all of us. You're a 5th grade student at Leonard Elementary School in Troy. You are the artist who is selected for the cover of the 2023 Kids Clean Water Calendar that Commissioner Nash presents and has for 18 years. This year was the highest number of applicants or artists for the calendar, over 700 submissions from 42 schools, a record number, and you are number 1. So you have not only won this art contest, but other contests before in Troy also, including a garden walk competition. So not only does he do art, but he also plays, you play piano, you play violin. Which do you like better?
I like them both equally.
Nice, okay. And you played basketball for 5 years. You're a figure skater. You have a brown belt in karate. Your favorite subject is science.
That's not true.
What's your favorite subject? Math.
It's a science.
We may or may not change it on the proclamation. So, on this special occasion, Commissioner Nash and I would like to present to you a proclamation for the fine work and fine artist you are and will be in the future. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to go in front. Oh, would you like to say anything first?
Extra.
And the mic's there. Use it.
I would just like to thank everyone. My parents, my teachers.
Let's take a picture.
Okay.
That's great.
Three of us, and then
I'm going to hand the gavel over to Commissioner Gershenson to present the next proclamation. So this proclamation is a particular honor to recognize a full career that has made this county better, has supported this board, and many of you probably aren't fully aware of the involvement of this individual to this institution, I mean the Board of Commissioners, and the other things that operate under it. I'd like to call Patty Schaefer forward here to present this proclamation. And I'll start by reading it, but then I also want to give a little bit of context here. Most of you know, particularly those who've been here for a while. Yeah, well, Wiper hung out at the library. So the county library was under the departmental classification of the Board of Commissioners. And over the years, a lot of transition happened and partnerships with Cooley Law School and other things, and has shrunk to a de minimis operation. Libraries require people to make them work, and not only did we have, an incredible staff in Patty running that, as we shrunk the role of the library, Patty became one of our biggest tech gurus that makes the packets that you all have work. And you might not have been interacting with her a regular day, but we're here to celebrate her contributions to this county, to this board, and we are incredibly wishful to enjoy the coming days and years in your retirement, because you've certainly earned it a couple times. So let me read this proclamation to Patty Schaefer. Whereas it is our privilege to honor individuals such as Patty Schaefer, who dedicated their careers in public service to improving the lives of those in Oakland County. Whereas a lifelong resident of Royal Oak, Patty's employment with Oakland County has spanned almost 25 years and will be ending just before her 80th birthday. Considered her second full-time career after working as a seamstress and managing a dry cleaner, she began part-time at the county's library for the visually and physically impaired in September of 1998, where she held several different positions after transitioning full-time later that year. In 2009, Patty began working in the county's law library and has remained there through this conversion to the Legal Resource Center, and has been the Legal Resource sole staff member since 2021. And whereas since the LRC is placed under the purview of the Board of Commissioners, the original Patty, we like to refer to her as, has been beloved by fellow team members and commissioners alike. Open and eager to learn new things, Patty has always been willing to take on additional responsibilities, and her support is frequently requested for tasks that benefit from her exceptional research and proofreading skills. Whereas Patty's devotion to Oakland County has touched the lives in a variety of ways, her kindness and dedication to the Library for the Visually and Physically Impaired was acknowledged with a $10,000 patron donation for large print books in her honor. Throughout the height of the pandemic, she reported to work in Pontiac daily to maintain the services of the LRC. Patty also created the contest-winning Oak Fit name and logo for Oakland County's Employee Wellness Program, and has been a member of the Royal Oak Optimist Club for over 21 years. Whereas on the occasion of her retirement, we join Patty's colleagues and family, including her 3 children and 2 grandchildren, to wish her many amazing experiences as she enjoys more time at her cottage on the Rifle River. I know exactly where that is. It's beautiful up there. We thank her for years of outstanding service to Oakland County and its residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved, David T. Woodward, Chair of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, and together with the entire Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim special commendation to Patty Schaefer. We wish her all the best in her retirement. Thank you very much. Thank you. You want to say anything?
I'd just like to thank all of the members of the Board of Commissioners and thank the county for 25 great years.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's have it here. I'll be looking for you kayaking the Rifle River, Patty. All right. Oh, shoot. All right. Now we're going to move on to a presentation. We are honored to have Erin Quatel, who's our sustainability officer, to join us to give us an update. There's been a lot that's been happening. First and foremost, between the last time she was here and this time, she has a new addition in this world. And I'm just recently back from a maternity leave, and we're so happy and thankful to have you back. And I'm glad to hear that everyone's doing very well. And most importantly, for this presentation, to give an update of all the progress that's been happening under her auspice as we take steps to build a more sustainable county, to live into our promise to reduce carbon emissions 50% by 2030, and all the other great things you have under the work. So I'll give you the floor.
Great.
Thank you, and give us the update.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So my name is Erin Quatel. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer here at Oakland County. I've been here for about a year and a half. And the last time I was here, I gave a little bit of an update of where I was and what at least I was thinking for the county. And now I have some really great things to update you on. And I did make a whole new human in the time between now and then. So my quick agenda of what I'm going to go over, I'm going to give an introduction of myself, or I guess a reintroduction to some of you, talk quickly about what is sustainability, how do we define it at the county, talk a little bit about the connection to the global context as well as our strategic framework, give a variety of sustainability updates, talk a little bit about some grants, and then provide you with some resources and tools, and then open it up for discussion or questions if you have anything. So really quick, I just wanted to give a quick introduction or reintroduction of myself. I just plucked the things that you can definitely read on my resume or find on my LinkedIn, but it has my educational background and just a journey through how I started my education and then came to here. So I went to Grand Valley State University. I then worked at the Detroit Zoo for some time in the camps department. I then served as an AmeriCorps member, serving the Leon P. Matthews chapter of Trout Unlimited, as well as the Little Forks Land Conservancy. Spent some time at the Greening of Detroit, planting trees within the city of Detroit, and then went and got my master's in public administration from Columbia University. Spent a year as a consulting person. I was not a very good consultant. OHM was fantastic. I just wasn't a good fit for it. And then the opportunity for Ferndale came up. So I was Ferndale's first sustainability person, and then now here at the county. It's a little bit about me. Here at the county, we define sustainability very similarly of how you would find it elsewhere, but equity being the top, so that's the people part of it. The environment is clearly a part of sustainability, and the economy, and then everything that you see in the intersection of those is what sustainability is. There are then other areas that you can see the intersection with, for example, between equity and the environment, making sure that there's a bearable, natural, and built environment for our people and being respectful to our environment. And some of you may also know about different economic strategies for sustainability, corporate social responsibility, or environmental social governance. Those are two ways that sustainability is put into practice with our economy and thinking about our fiscal responsibility in that way. This did not get a lot of support last time I showed this, but I do think it's very important. These are the UN Sustainable Development Goals. They are put out by the UN. They show a variety of different ways that we can become more sustainable as a society. And I think that it's really important to still think about sustainability in a global context, even though it is very broad, because it is why we're in government and why we serve our people. And then one thing that I like to do is then show an overlay of the UN Sustainable Development Goals with our 8 strategic goals that we have at the executive level. Certainly, you're very familiar with these, and environmental sustainability is one of these goals. And you can see diversity, equity, inclusion, and sustainability actually include all of the UN Sustainable Development Goals because they are very broad and include all of the systems for that. So more specifically, The environmental sustainability strategic framework goal is Oakland County seeks to protect the environment, reduce carbon pollution, keep our water and lakes safe, and conserve natural resources. There are 3 key performance indicators underneath that to measure our progress and success. They are to protect our drinking water, reduce county government emissions and energy use, and promote cleaner transportation alternatives. I think that this is really important because this is not everything that we're looking at for sustainability, but certain things that we talked about as our strategic framework and understanding where we can make the most impact and measure our success against. So to drill into more specifically in how we have seen that for sustainability and put that into practice is as follows. So just as a reminder, our greenhouse gas goals for the county are to reach net zero carbon emissions for the county operations by 2050 and an interim target to reduce our emissions by 50% by 2035. Last year, everyone approved the procurement of 75% solar energy for our energy in 2026. So starting in 2026, 75% of our electricity will be coming from solar, which equates to 40% reduction in overall campus emissions. So we only have that 10% left to get to that interim target goal in 2035. The graph that you see on there, as well as we did a baseline emissions assessment as part of the sustainability planning efforts. And what you can see there is where we are with our emissions. Not surprisingly, the greatest emitters are our buildings and facilities, just over 75%, followed by our vehicle fleet. That is very common. You'll see that in other communities and other areas too. When you look at your GHG emissions, they're the largest emitters. They take up the biggest footprint, and they are the methods that we have, tailpipe emissions and things like that. So then moving on, that was really important to include as part of our sustainability plan. We then developed the sustainability plan for our campus operations and facilities specifically because we wanted to make sure that if we were going to move sustainability in Oakland County, we wanted to make sure that we were practicing that here as a county government as well. Just a quick update for it. The final draft is being reviewed. We're going to be doing a department tour to present this in more depth to all of the different departments. It's definitely been communicated a variety of different leadership levels throughout the county. And last year we launched the link to our GIS story map towards the end of the year, which I have a link in here. If anybody would like a direct link, please let me know and I can send it after this. As a reminder, the vision for this is the sustainability plan has its own vision and guiding principles behind it. I do like to take the time to actually read this because I think it is really important in the foundation for what we do here for sustainability. So Oakland County demonstrates leadership in social, environmental, and economic sustainability through modeling transparent, innovative, and achievable action. The county creates an accessible, safe, and welcoming campus that contributes to positive service experience for all through efficient, equitable, and low-carbon operations. Our guiding principles are to operationalize diversity, equity, inclusion, provide accessible service and campus environment, create education and engagement opportunities, advance net zero carbon, improve our air and water quality, and maximize our resource efficiencies. I won't take the time to read this one, but this is just an outline of then what you can see in that plan, looking at our waste, looking at our facilities and fleet decarbonization, high performance buildings, open space, ecosystems and connectivity, health and wellness, and then certainly sustainable governance. So that's all the planning work that we've been doing as far as our guide for sustainability. Some of the things that have been happening simultaneously, I will go through right now. A lot of things related to EVs. So this is the all things EV slide. Actually, I have a few slides about electric vehicles. I wanted to let you guys know about the progress that we had for phase 1 of our regional EV plan. We partnered with SEMCOG and MEDC to do a tri-county toolkit and map for EV infrastructure. This is really geared towards making sure our communities understand and have the resources and tools to deploy EV infrastructure throughout all of our communities. There's a link to that toolkit. It is a PDF of a variety of different action items, tools, model ordinances, et cetera, and then an interactive map that actually goes through, and if you're a data nerd like me, is very interesting because it has different schematics on what it would look like for a low, medium, high uptake of EVs. Level 2 being that the lower level electrification, and then the DCFC, which is the fast charging. It also overlays our Justice 40 mapping, census tracts, a variety of different community assets like parks or hospitals or places, of employment. And it helps with that mapping tool. Phase 2, MEDC approached us and asked, what would you do with additional funding? And we said, well, we would then take what we did and all this great work and do engagement with our 62 cities, villages, and townships. So that's kicking off right now. There are some other funding opportunities. I won't read through them, but I think what's notable is that we received a Michigan Enhancement Grant of $1 million to deploy EV infrastructure here on campus. And so we are just going through the process of formally accepting that money and going to be deploying EV infrastructure later this year. We are currently working on the charging and fueling infrastructure, which was approved for us to apply for that and go for that funding at the last full board meeting. And then also certainly just keeping an eye on the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure, or affectionately known as NEVI, potential funding that the state is working with as well. This is just the campus plans of what we're looking at for that Michigan Enhancement Grant. Some of the other things that we've been working on are specifically looking at mapping and how we can prepare our communities for future electrification. And the map on the right is what we did internally. We identified different areas using the criteria that the federal government put out. And these are just potential areas for planning purposes. And the map on the left of the state of Michigan are the what's called alternative fuel corridors, which is what the NEVI guidance is based on for deployment of the fast charging infrastructure. Last slide about EVs, I could probably give you a whole entire presentation about it. But the other thing that we are concerned with is certainly the electrical capacity, what we are actually able to support here on campus and elsewhere throughout our communities. A lot of people think you can just plop an EV station and you're good to go, but there are a lot of other infrastructure needs that we need to make sure we're aware of. Certainly funding is a concern, and we're just keeping up on all the federal opportunities and state opportunities and looking at electrification of our fleet. A couple more updates. We're currently in a Lead for Cities and Communities cohort to work on a Lead for Cities evaluation of Oakland County. It's about 25% complete. We're working on with the other departments to get a little bit more data. And what this will show and provide us is just another baseline of data to go for our sustainability. We recently received an MDR tree grant. You probably saw a few more trees planted on campus, which was really exciting. It was $15,000 to plant about 150 trees this season. There's a goal from Mark Baldwin, who's our chief of landscaping, to plant 2,027 trees by 2027, which is when he's going to retire. So that's about 400 trees per year, and we're making good progress towards that. Lastly, with just the update, we recently received the Michigan Green Community Challenge Lead silver certification. That's an error on there. It shouldn't say Lead for Cities. I apologize for that. We scored 92, which is so close to gold. So hopefully next year we'll get gold. But this is just a nice way to kind of show just our sustainability progress, along with our other 62 CVTs that scored in as well. This is just a breakdown of all the grant funding we were able to secure since I've been here, just over $1.3 million. The MDNR tree grant I had mentioned, the Michigan Enhancement Grant, the MEDC projects with the phase 1 and phase 2 of the EV planning that we have, and then there's several other grants that we're attempting. I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is just to show we have our eye on a lot of different opportunities. One thing that we did receive, which is formula-based fund, is the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant, or EECBG. So that should be coming through as soon as we do our application. It's kind of like an application process, but it's a formula fund, so we don't really have to apply for it. We just have to say, yes, please give us the money and let us do good work with it. So we're working on that right now. And then there's a few other potential grant funding opportunities that we're keeping our eye on too. Let's see. That's really that. I already went through much of that. The last thing I would like to share, I don't have time to actually go through these tools, but I do think it's worthwhile if you're interested. The first link on here is the Green Dashboard, which is a SEMCOG tool for a variety of different data points that you can look at different communities. You can look at tree cover, you can look at the water that you have, you can look at air quality, and that is really a great tool to kind of understand what's happening in the environment. The next two, like I mentioned, is the study. So there's the first one is the PDF form for the toolkit. The second one is the interactive mapping tool. And then the last two that you see on there are two different environmental justice tools that you can use to look at where your community falls within environmental justice, the Justice 40 and the Michigan EJ, or Environmental Justice Screening Tool. Lastly, just a little update on events. Dave Coulter spoke at the first ever My Healthy Climate Conference, which was really great, so we're really thankful to have his support in that. And then these are a variety of different other events that are coming up that you or your community members might be interested in. Specifically, I want to note the EV Fleet Expo, which is happening in August 17th. That is going to have a variety of different EV vehicles for folks to experience, drive in, talk about. So if I have more information, as soon as I have that, we're on the steering committee and actively working on the planning for that. I will make sure that you all have that information. And that's it. That's us.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Erin? Okay, we got three here. I'll start with Commissioner Rahman, then Spiz, then Gershenson. Commissioner Rahman.
Erin, thank you so much for the presentation. We appreciate it, and it's great to see that the county is taking so many initiatives, to keep us as green and sustainable as possible. One question I had for you is, a few of us had a orientation with RCOC last week, Road Commission. So I'm just curious because they had presented several challenges and issues as it relates to EV from their standpoint. Now I understand obviously you're talking sustainability, you're talking about maintaining the roads. Clearly we have to find a balance between the two. Is there some communication between, your department, your office, and Road Commission as far as it relates to EVs before we get too far down the road?
Sure, that's a really good question. We have had several conversations, more in the, I think, innovation and technology space, to be honest, versus electric vehicles. But it is something that we continue to have conversations about. No solutions to this point, but just making sure that whatever EV infrastructure we are implementing is considering all the different externalities that we have to face because of it. I'm speaking on ITS Canada with one of the RCOC folks on EVs specifically. I also spoke with them at the past auto show last year. So we're actively in conversations, just making sure that we're both working together collaboratively.
Perfect,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Spiz, then Gershenson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Erin, for coming out today.
Thank you.
One of those three bubbles is economy.
Yes.
And on one of your slides, I think you're selling yourself short because you didn't point out how much money you are saving the county by going to 75% solar, which, if I remember correctly, is about $12 million.
It's
So,
pretty
to me,
substantial.
it is very substantial. I think you need to take a lot more credit for that than what you're doing in this presentation. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Good point, Commissioner Spiz. Saving money and the earth. Commissioner
Try.
Gershenson.
Well, thank you, Erin. Pretty impressive, our score going up from 67 to 92. That's really impressive. So my question's kind of a personal one for those of us that drive electric cars that we'd like to plug in. How realistic, when would you say that's actually going to become a reality here in our parking lots?
For infrastructure specifically on Oakland County campus?
Well, yes. I mean, I know that the last time our parking lot was paved, they put in the infrastructure for the Board of Commissioners parking lot, and I know it's going to be happening again. So I'd like to get an understanding of where that is.
Sure, that's a good question. So the Michigan Enhancement Grant is going to help with that. So we already had the plans for the Board of Commissioners parking lot as well as the Executive Office Building parking lot outside of the Conference Center. So those two are actively part of the repaving program that's going to happen hopefully later this summer. They had a few contracting issues last year with the paving company and everything like that. But that will be going on as well as deployment in the administrative offices outside of parks at Waterford Oaks, and as well as a few other locations outside of here in the court parking lots. And so, as far as I know, assuming that we have the contract set and that everything goes as planned, which nothing ever goes as planned with construction, that'll happen this year.
Very good. And let's see, I had one more, but I just forgot.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just going to, Commissioner Johnson.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Chair, if you want to go.
Nope, I will go last.
Okay.
Commissioner
Well,
Johnson.
hello. It's really great to, I don't know if we've met before, but it's really great to have you here. Another DZS alum and someone who went to a foreign policy grad school, so awesome. It's not so much, I have a Bolt EUV. I'm one of the 3 Bolt EUVs that parked out here, and I love my EV. Something that we were talking about a little bit in our caucus meeting right before this is how much we wanted to stress with our friends in the executive branch in Oakland County that we are a really deliberative body, and I completely understand that the EV infrastructure phase-in plan in our campus looks a lot different than it would be for our residents, right? EV charging is actually really easy to do on a grid when you're looking at residential charging because we charge at off-peak hours, which is really nifty. This county campus is a daytime campus, which exacerbates our bandwidth issues. So just wanted to reassure the executive that we want to be deliberative. We want to be partners with you as you're working through these challenges in policy. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
Great. Commissioner Gershenson for a second.
And then we are actually voting on an issue tonight that involves some sidewalks, and so we've had a discussion about pervious versus impervious concrete. So I'd like to know that you are having that, or facilities is having that when they're looking at paving, that it is important to this body.
Great, yes, absolutely. Not only the pervious pavement, but right-sizing our paving to make sure that we have the appropriate amount of parking spaces and the appropriate amount of impervious surfaces, and integrating those stormwater mitigation practices with those projects.
Great. Well, I mean, I think the questions I covered, I mean, I'm super excited about all the work under your leadership, bringing down those resources. I mean, it should go without being said, but I'll say it. If there are dollars to be got to bring here to do more, we will move the earth, no pun intended, to get those resources to help us achieve these goals faster and more efficient, as efficient as possible. And so, I mean, look at us as a partner. I know our Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee really wants to be partners, thinking through what are the next steps and opportunities to, I mean, really help drive down not just our own county operations when it comes to greenhouse gases, but like how do we scale up, multiply ourselves, and be even greater resources for our local communities. Start with a coalition of the willing, and then hopefully encourage others to come along, because it is something that's absolutely essential, not just for this generation, but for future generations. So thank you, Erin, for everything.
Thank you so much.
And that presentation's in our packets, and so if the links on there, I think, are live, and you'll be able to access those, and encourage you to do so. This will move us to communications, and I will call on the clerk to read the communications.
Thank you. We have 2 this evening. First, dated May 25th, 2023. To the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, please accept this letter as notification that I have exercised the authority granted to the chair of the board to approve grant applications in excess of $50,000 for the purposes of meeting a submission deadline. Due to the grantor deadlines and the board's grant submission process and calendar, it is not possible to submit the application for full board consideration in accordance with our normal procedures. I have authorized the submission of the following grant application. The name of the grant was the 2024 Coverdale Forensic Science Improvement Grants Program, and the application was considered with an affirmative vote by the Public Health and Safety Committee. The department that this is going to is the Sheriff's Office in the amount of $73,741, and the grant application deadline was May 23rd, 2023. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chair, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. And the other communication this evening is also dated May 25th, 2023, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, I am hereby appointing David Woodward as the board chair appointed commissioner to serve on the Tax Increment Financing District Policy Ad Hoc Review Committee for a term ending December 31st, 2024. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners.
And that last one's filling a vacancy. There are others on it, and we were short a person, so I'm stepping in. Can I get a motion to approve the communications? Moved by Hoffman, seconded by Lubes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that the communications have been received unanimously. This will move us to our first public comment of the evening. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak on any item on the consent or regular agenda. I don't believe anyone signed up. No one signed up. Is there anyone here to speak on the consent agenda or the consent or regular agenda? There's a second public comment at the end of the meeting. Okay, so I'll open that public comment, the first public comment, and seeing none, I will close that public comment, and that will move us right into the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as contained in the agenda? Moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Long. Is there any discussion for items that are on the consent agenda, knowing that one of those items have been pulled off to be on the regular agenda? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, or the clerk, if you can prompt the vote on the consent agenda. Oh. I don't think Commissioner Gershenson has the prompt up, so.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, there are 15 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The consent agenda is adopted, and this will move us to the regular agenda. And first up, I will call on Economic Development and Infrastructure Chair, the Honorable Commissioner Yolanda Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 items on the regular agenda today. The first item is Water Resources Commissioner appropriation of American Rescue Plan Act fiscal recovery funds for Northwest Oakland Sanitary Drainage District Phase 1. And Mr. Chair, I move to recommend adoption of the foregoing resolution.
It's moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Is there any discussion? There's been a lot of discussion about this. I don't know if we need to talk any further about it. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote. Lisa. This is the drain. Oh, okay, just. Okay, I just want to get clarification what's prompting up that we're voting on. This is the.
Could you repeat your question?
This is the sanitary drain item that we're voting on. Okay, so
Yes.
we have the. I know. So. In order on the agenda. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, I know. I hear it's in order. So can you pull this down and just put up the appropriation of the ARPA monies for the Northwest Oakland sanitary drain? We could have recorded it correctly. Just. No problem. Okay, so there we go. Great, no problem. So we've prompted the vote on the item that was moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles and Commissioner Hoffman.
Mr. Chair, you have 15 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Yes, the next item is Board of Commissioners fiscal year 2023 appropriation for the local road improvement program. Mr. Chair, I move to recommend adoption of the foregoing resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion? I believe that there's an amendment. Commissioner Weipert.
Mr. Chair, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we amend Schedule A and Schedule B to include the city of Clawson.
A motion by Commissioner Wiper to add the city of Clawson to be part of this round of funding for the local road improvement program, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Is there any discussion? Do you want to explain?
Just briefly, we took that up today.
Okay.
So we were able to, Clawson was able to get their application in. The committees met today, so we were able to get the information, approve their application, and that's why we need to amend it today.
And as a result, can be part of all the road programs that we're funding, and can get and have those programs and that road repair project proceed. Excellent. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, can we call on the amendment? Can we on the Wipert amendment?
Mr. Chair, on the Wipert amendment, there are 15 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The Wipert amendment is adopted. That will move us to the main motion. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Wipert.
And just so everybody knows, this will make $2,130,426 that this board has helped the local communities, every city and village in the county, except for Franklin, Bingham Farms, and Northville, who chose to opt out because I don't think they had a project, but we were able to fund every request, and I think it's near that amount of money is putting up to 24 million. I believe it's 24 million of projects in the county.
I mean, right. No, I think it's incredible. I mean, this program, just like our other road programs, is able to leverage full completion, like Commissioner Wipert said, I think $24 million worth of new road projects. And from this program's inception, I think we're north of $100 million of road projects that have been able to get completed in part with the county's partnership. So, sounds great. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And if I may, Commissioner, I'm just reading, so there was rollover amount from 2022. Is there any rollover for 2024?
Yeah, through the chair, Mr. Chair, yes. Last year we had $155,000 that rolled into this year, and I think there's about 25,000 rolling over to next year with those three opt-outs.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yes. If I generally we assign $2 million for this project. It's a formula which communities are eligible. If they don't get used, that rollover is eligible to stretch a project. We don't want money sitting around waiting to be used for a project. We want it to go into the road project as quickly as possible. Commissioner Markham.
Yes, excuse me, as an example of that, the city of Novi has done a couple of projects where it took 4 years to accumulate all the dollars that they needed to do for a $28, $29 million intersection improvement. And the county was part of that, and those dollars rolled until the city was ready to spend them.
Excellent. Any further discussion? See none. Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 15 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Yes, thank you, Chair. That concludes the report of the Economic Development Infrastructure Committee.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, we'll now move over to the Finance Committee, and I'll call on Commissioner Gwen Markham.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and everybody else. I am here to present one item, sponsorship of the 2023 Huntington Woods fireworks. I move this foregoing proposal.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Long. Any discussion? See no discussion. Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 14 yeas, 1 nay.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Markham? Yep. Duly noted. Next up is the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, and I will call on Commissioner Brendan Johnson, the Vice Chair, for, I believe, one item.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Today I have one item on the irregular agenda. It is a resolution titled Parks and Recreation Amendment Number 6 with Oakland County 4-H Fair Association for paving improvement projects at Springfield Oaks County Park. Mr. Chair, I move to recommend adoption of the foregoing resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion? Commissioner Long.
Thank you. I just have, many of you know Elsie Scramlin, and he had called me worried about it. You know, he's so involved in the county fair, and he said, should I come or go to my grandson's baseball game? So I said, go to your grandson's baseball games, and I would speak to it. But I'm just asking for everyone to support this project. It was a $100,000 grant. The project's $214,000 total. They got a great price on it, and it's to the entrance only. It's not going to pave a lot, but the entrance to the fair, and that's coming up in July. I don't know the exact date. I should, but hopefully anyone that hasn't been to it goes to it because it is a great fair. And if you don't know Elsie Scramlin, you know his passion for the fair. He does the 4-H fair and the state fair, and you get teary-eyed listening to him. He's done it for so many years that. So I told him I would speak on his behalf so I can go to the baseball game. So I'm asking for commissioner support for it. Thank you.
Excellent. And you spoke fabulous on it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 15 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That concludes the report of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Thank you very much. Move us to reports of special committees, none. Special order business, none. Unfinished business, none. And I'll move us to new miscellaneous business. I will call first on Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you.
Can you pull the mic, Commissioner Lubes? Can you pull the mic so the people at home can hear you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item. This item is in support of the Troy Nature Society education programming at the Stage Nature Center. This money would provide educational nature programs and activities at the center, including an interpretive building with classroom space, exhibits, children's nature area, wildlife viewing area, and a library.
And you're introducing that and referring to finance without objection.
Yes, thank you.
Next, Commissioner Rahman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item as well, sponsorship of the Wixom Downtown Dazzle and Holiday Tree Lighting Ceremony. This is something that was established back in 2018 in the city of Wixom, and this is an annual event. We're looking to do sponsorship in support of their DDA for their holiday season lighting. They've actually expanded their area outside the Civic Center. They've added a new loop, and they're looking to expand on what is already a pretty impressive display. So if we can support them, I'd certainly move to do so.
All right, and you are introducing and referring the item to finance. Referred without objection.
Thank you.
There is one communication item that that was slightly overlooked, and so if it's okay, if I can hand it to you, Mr. Clerk, to read. This is an appointment of a vacancy on our, yes, I mean, if it's okay under new miscellaneous business that we can receive this communication to appoint a member to the, the Citizen Advisory Committee for this oversees and makes recommendation for the CDBG funds and other federal funds.
Mr. Chair, this communication is dated May 25th, 2023 to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, I am hereby appointing the following individual to serve on the Oakland County Community Development Citizens Advisory Council for a term ending December 31st, 2024. Citizen at Large, Sarah Pounds. Your confirmation of this appointment is respectfully requested. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. And moved by Commissioner Powell, seconded by Commissioner Weipert. To receive that communication, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. And let the record reflect that communication is received unanimously. Okay, it will bring us to announcements. Any announcements that anybody has? I'll just give one. I had an opportunity to attend a press conference for Project Diamond Phase 2. I know Commissioner Spiz and myself have been involved with this. I'm from the beginning up in Rochester Hills at a local business that has truly, a sustainable business that focuses on furniture that has taken on this technology to produce parts that are necessary to create longevity for older furniture and finding newer ways every single time. It doesn't hurt that there's someone that comes out of the engineering space that helped it started this company, but the goal as a county is to put these devices in the hands of 40% of our small and medium-sized manufacturers across Oakland County. 40% of the 2,300 or so manufacturing firms in Oakland County, the largest number of manufacturing firms in all of Michigan. And it was just really amazing to see on display, and our partnership with Automation Alley to take it to the next level. So just wanted to give an announcement on that. Commissioner Powell.
And I just also wanted to thank the EDI committee for just temporarily passing the first step of the project that may come downtown Pontiac. So if everything moves, thank you all for your support, and we'll just see where that goes. But I know it's more steps to that process. So thank you to our EDI committee. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
And Dave Coulter, the executive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Miller.
Yes, I was thinking Commissioner Powell would, but I want to put that on her. We broke ground on the Pontiac Skate Park. Yes. Well, it's your area, so it was a great moment, right? The community is appreciative, so this Board of Commissioners made it happen, and it's a great thing, and it's going to revitalize that whole area, just that little piece.
And any commissioner that can do a flip of the skateboard in the air, I'll buy a round for you.
Challenge accepted.
Commissioner Miller might be the only one taking me up on that. All right. Excellent. Yeah, no, a great project that, just as a reminder, that we helped put up money that the community had raised to draw down an even bigger matching grant to have not only broken ground, but to really create a space for people to gather, particularly young people that too often are forgotten, and give a place to congregate together and enjoy and have a good time and break a limb once in a while. But anyway, any other announcements? Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just in case international news often gets kind of crowded out when it comes to the local level, but if you all didn't know, the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation is a really big international cooperation of 21 Pacific Ring countries. The United States is a member of this international body. They have hosts every year as they have ministerial meetings. The United States happens to be the host for the first time in 21 years this year. And part of that, the United States has 4 meetings each year that we're going to host. They picked Detroit to host the springtime meeting. So if you were wondering why there was a transportation ministerial last week where Pete Buttigieg was in Michigan, along with the transportation ministers of 21 Pacific Ring countries, that was part of this. We have a commerce ministerial this week where our commerce secretary and all the commerce ministers from 21 Pacific countries are going to be here. Long and the short of it is in Detroit, and there's been a lot of showing off of the Metro Detroit region. I was at a roundtable talk with one of the special representatives today and a few other folks at the Arab American Museum in Dearborn, where we were talking about all the ways that Southeast Michigan is a model of American cooperation and progress and ingenuity, especially, which is something that we in Oakland County pride ourselves in. So Oakland County, just for your situational awareness, is on display right now to all of our Pacific Ring partners, and we're doing well.
Excellent. Thank you for that announcement. Any for Commissioner Weipert, and then Commissioner Markham, and then Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let's not forget, I know this weekend we're having Memorial Day, and it's a time to honor those who lost their lives while defending our country, recognizing the members of the American Military Services. I know South Lyon's having a parade, Milford's having a parade, a lot of other communities having parades, and it's not just about the parades and weekends, it's about honoring those, so.
Honoring,
That's really
absolutely. Thank you for, that reminder. Commissioner Markham, and then Commissioner Loops.
Yeah, real quickly, as Commissioner Johnson was talking about, the National Association of Regional Councils, which is the organization of all the SEMCOGs of the country, there are 27 of them. They will be meeting for their annual meeting in Detroit starting on June 4th through the 7th. And they've got a great set of events planned for people coming in from all over the country. So
Great. An opportunity to showcase even more.
Their acronym is NARC, so we call them the National Association of Regional Councils. We don't call them.
Got it. Commissioner Lubes.
I also wanted to comment on Memorial Day that each of our communities, or most of our communities, if not all, have a remembrance for those who have died in the service on our behalf.
Right.
So it's a time for our communities to come together and honor our military.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. It might be worth noting today that the United States Supreme Court ruled that if you take someone's property through property tax foreclosure and you keep the equity, it's a taking. And that's exactly what the Michigan Supreme Court ruled a few years ago. Well, they called it taking, but I call it stealing. But I think it's worth noting that the highest court in the land has reinforced what the Michigan Supreme Court did.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. All right. Any other announcements? See none. This will move us to the opportunity of our second public comment. This is the opportunity for individuals of the public to come and address the board and speak on any topic. We ask that you keep your comments directed at me, the chair. Keep your comments limited to 3 minutes. And I will start with, we got one person that signed up. If you just I'll call on Mr. Buell. And if you just give your community of residents and welcome. Good to see you again.
Good evening. I'm a little disappointed that the rest of my county residents not showing up. This is really sad. I have brought about $300 worth of papers that I've written and researched, topics that are going to take way longer than 3 minutes. I brought plenty of copies for everybody. I don't know if I'm allowed to hand them out, so I will leave them up here on the counter. Please read them, pass them along. You all need to have a meeting on them. I mainly hear about the vaccines. I've tried to have a conversation with the sheriff. He will not call me back. I've had nearly an hour conversation with the township supervisor of Waterford. He told me, you definitely sound like you know what you're talking about. I called out the vaccines before the virus was announced. Facebook went into my Messenger app and deleted the message out of my phone warning not to take any vaccines they miraculously come up with. 10 days before the virus was announced. What's in these vaccines? Sterility drugs. Australia typically has 40 to 60,000 births per year. In 2022, they had 5 live births. The vaccines have to stop. Somebody in this room has to get a hold of the sheriff and make him do his job and stop the vaccines. That's all I got. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. And you're from Waterford, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you just for the record. All right. Anybody else that would like to, from the public, would like to speak? Seeing none, I will close the second public comment, and we will stand adjourned until June 15th, 2023, or I call the chair. Everyone have a very happy Memorial Day, and as has been mentioned before, that we make sure that we remember all of those who served this nation as we recognize the holiday and all their service, to the sacrifice of themselves and their families.